In today's video, we're going to touch on ester nomenclature. With ester nomenclature, you're going to name the compound that's bonded to the oxygen first. So in this situation, you have two carbon groups, which would be an ethyl. And this portion over here that's bonded to the carbon that's doubly bonded to the oxygen, you're going to name that by counting the carbons as well. So in this particular situation, you would call ethyl ethane OH. So this ethane OH is how you determine if something is an ester or not. So you just drop the E on ethane in this situation and put OH. And this right here is usually called R prime. And the alkyl group that's bonded directly to the carbonyl group is called the R group. So you got an R group on this side and an R group on this side is called R prime. The R prime side is the one that you're going to name first, and you separate it, and then you count the carbons, and this situation to be ethanoate. What if you have this? And what I like to do as well is put a little line through it. That way I can just focus on one segment of the naming it at one time. And you're going to start numbering from the carbon that's closest to the carbonyl group or closest to the oxygen. So in this situation, it'd be 1, 2, 3. So this would be 2-chloro propane. And this should be one word. 2-chloropropane. But instead of propane, this is a propyl. So you'll drop the ANE ending and you put YL for propyl, because it's not actual propane. It's describing the other remaining of the compound. So you would put 2-chloropropyl. And then you would name this side just like you did the other. So it would be 2-chloropropyl ethane OH. And just to be clear, you would connect this with that, but it would be, well, let me redraw it so it's very clear. It would be 2-chloropropyl, 2 words, ethane OH. And I guess a good way to remember it is this side over here is separated from this side over here, and you separate those in your naming as well. Well, if you have a situation like this with a benzyl group attached, well, you do the same thing. So this is over here is going to be ethyl, and we learned in an earlier video that if you have just this ring here, it is a phenyl. But if you have a carbon attached, it's a benzyl. So this would be ethyl. Remember the R prime side, the side that's connected to the oxygen, is named first. And this would be benzyl. But instead of saying benzyl, it'll be benzoate. Or instead of saying benzene, it'll be benzoate. So just like up here, we drop the E off ethane to make it ethane. Ethane OH, this would be benzoate here. So normally this would be benzene, but you would drop the ending and put OH. Remember as well, when you see C6H5, it's equivalent to this. It's the same thing, you know, on a test. Sometimes professors will try to trip you up by having this written out like this. But if you see that, just know it's equivalent. So these two compounds are the exact same thing.